Rahim Ahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. So continuing from yesterday, we said that in all of these four surah, we said that all of it permissible. Okay? But he's saying here, khilafan lil farra. Now again, as a mubtadi book, he shouldn't be, but he's bringing khilaf. And he also mentioned all the Nahw, nuhat. So farra is the name of one of the scholars of Nahw. So inshallah, when we reach a certain level of Nahw, I'll go through a historic, the same way we got in Balagha, we got historical like analysis of the science of Balagha, when it developed, how it developed, who the main scholars were. We'll do that in Nahw as well, but not now. So farra is a scholar of Nahw, that's it. Where is Kufi, Basri, what time he was from, which year from, that. Don't worry about that now. So he's saying this scholar, he says no. So khilafan lil farra fi surati al-ula wa thalitha. So farra is saying that in here and in here, in these two scenarios, it is not permissible to do i'mal of the thani. What's he saying? In this scenario, so everybody says, well, everything is jaiz. In all four scenarios, you can make this the amil, the awwal or the thani. Correct? But Farra says, his logic is that you cannot make the second amil in this and this. This scenario and this scenario. The second verb can't be the amil. وَدَلِيلُهُ again, مِنْ غَيْرِ تَعَرُّضٍ لِلْأَدِلَّةِ. See, I'm not going to mention dalil. And he says, وَدَلِيلُهُ. You understand? So, rahimahullah. Allah have mercy on him. He says, وَدَلِيلُهُ لُزُومُ أَحَدِ الْأَمْرَيْنِ. So this shouldn't be in this book. According to the way the book was set up, this shouldn't be in the book, but I'm explaining it because it's to complete the book. Yeah. And I said before, if you're teaching, if you're a student, and there's a difficult discussion, no, let's put this off Nahw. Nahw is very simple and very practical. Without that, you want to understand the Quran, the language of the Quran. All these small things are very important in the Quran. But discussion like these, like, are too technical and too, like, it just kind of puts people off. So I'm just going through it. And if you're a teacher and you have a bit of, you're watching this video and you got a bit of authority, just say, well, just leave the discussion out. Explain the basics and let's leave the rest out. Don't confuse the students. Unless they're very, very high. And so maybe you could do it at the end after the book is finished. Because people get put off by this. Anyways, but daliluhu, he said no dalil, but he brought dalil. So he's saying anyways, that Farra is saying that luzumu ahadil amrain. In surah number 1 and surah number 3, you cannot do i'mal of the thani. You can't make the second verb what? The amil. Why? Because you either have hazful fa'il or izmar qabla dhikr. He's saying here, look, if you make here akramani zaydun, what happens? Or you say akramtu zaydan. In these two scenarios, you cannot make this the amil. Why? Because if you make akrama the fa'il and zaydun the fa'il of akrama, right? Then does Zayd have a fa'il? The fa'il of this is the fa'il of this, isn't it? What's the fa'il of daraba then becoming? Who was Amir? Is ma qabla dhikr permissible?
I thought you said yes because that's the only choice.
Yes, but he said no, you got a choice. For us, I'm saying that the scholar said it's permissible because we got no choice. But he's saying no, you got a choice. Make this the amil. Make this the amil. So he's saying you can't make that the amil. You have to make this the amil. No, because Zaydun comes here really, isn't it? Even though it comes at the end, mentally, where is it supposed to be? Daraba fa'il, Zaydun fa'il ni maf'ul bihi, wa akramani jumla ma'tu atifa. So even though it comes at the end in tartib lafzi, but rutbatan, and it's really, where is it? Fa'il maf'ul, isn't it? So fa'il 1, fa'il 2, and ni maf'ul 3 position. Gold, silver, bronze. So he's saying you can't do this because what happened is ma qabla dhikr. The other scholar says permissible because you have no choice. This is zarura. He said no. Make the first amil. Even here, if you make Zayd and the ma'mur of akram 2, then you have isma qabla, then you make the zamir huwa here the fa'il. Isma qabla dhikr. That's not permissible. Or if you don't isma qabla dhikr, you have no fa'il. So you say you either have one of two choices. You either end up doing isma qabla dhikr, and if you don't do isma qabla dhikr, you have hazf al-fa'il. There's no fa'il altogether. So if you make the zamir mustatir the fa'il, isma qabla dhikr. And if you don't have any fa'il, there's no fa'il. So Farra says, rahimahullah, that in the first and third situation, you can't have i'malu thani. وَكِلَاهُمَا مَحْذُورَان. Mahdur impermissible. So that's why he's saying, in those two, But again, this is simple. Everybody can do anything. Yes? But he's saying, it's an argument, it's a very interesting discussion, but not at this level. Okay? وهذا, and the whole thing, the whole issue is, this is fil jawaz. That we say everything is jaiz. So, but then, now he's going even further. وَأَمَّا الْإِخْتِيَارُ. What's the ikhtiyar mean? What's a better option? So everybody says everything is permissible. Correct? Except Farra. Farra says you can't do i'malu thani in Surah 1. And you can't do i'mal of the thani when the first verb needs a fa'il. Correct? But which one is better? I have a whole long discussion. You get it? So he says here, أَمَا الْإِخْتِيَارُ فَفِي خِلَافُ الْبَصْرِيِّينَ. So regarding this, there's an ikhtilaf of the Basriyun, the scholars of Basra and Kufa. So they really have the Kufa school of thought and the Madriya school of thought in like fiqh. Imam Malik from Medina, Kufa. So you have different. So in Iraq, you have two schools of thought, two main centers of knowledge, and two places with lots of ulama, Kufa and Basra. So they have a lot of ikhtilaf. Majority of our Nahw is based on Basra nowadays. And Kufa, we take a few of the masail, but majority of us is based on Kufa. Basra, sorry. We are mostly Basriyun. Most of our Nahw is based on Basra. فَإِنَّهُمْ يَخْتَارُونَ إِعْمَالَ الْفَعْلِ ثَانِ. They say to make the second fa'al amil is better. And Ahlul Basra say, Ahlul Kufa say what? Making the first fa'al amil is better. What's the dalil of Ahlul Kufa, Ahlul Basra? اعتبارا, considering qurb. Which was more closer to the second? Darabani wa darabtu Zaidan. Who's closer to Zaid? The first fa'al or second fa'al? So it's considering the closeness and considering the jiwar being neighbor. That's why the second fa'al is what? Better. وَالْكُوفِيُّونَ يَخْتَارُونَ إِعْمَالَ الْفَعْلِ الْأَوَّلِ. And Kufiyin say, what's better to do i'mal of? Make which one the amil? Why? مراعاة, not teen, مراعاة. مراعاة لتقديم والاستحقاق. Which one comes first? The first fa'al. So he came first, he's first in the line. Give him the amal. And istihqaq, more righteous, more entitlement. Yeah. Okay? Now, فَإِنْ أَعْمَلْتَ, not ثاني, إِنْ أَعْمَلْتَ الثَّانِيَةِ. If you make the second one the amil. So now we're gonna run through this whole scenario on the Basriyun mazhab. Yes? And I'm going to go through the whole thing on the Kufiyun mazhab. So you got 2-3 pages. So bear with me, yes? So fanzur. Fanzur means look. إن كان الفعل الأول يقتضي الفاعل أضمرته في الأول. So if what we're doing now, we're going to apply this on the Basriyun mazhab. We're going to say what? We're going to make the second verb the amil and ignore the first verb. So what happened now? You will make, so example here. يقتضي, if the first verb, if the first, now who's the amil? The second verb, yes? If the first verb needs a fa'il, you will make a hidden fa'il. كما تقول في المتوافقين. What's mutawafiqin? When both fa'ils need the same thing. So for example, he's saying, hello. In this scenario, darabani wa akramani. Daraba and akrama both need what? A fa'il. So now what we're going to do, we are going to make, he's giving 3 examples here. He's going to say here, we're going to make the second verb the amil. That's the amil, yes? So now, undur. If the first verb, this is the first verb here now. If this needs a fa'il, what do you have to do? You bring a zamir. So Zaidun is a fa'il of akramani, Zaidan is a fa'il of akramani, and Zaidun is a fa'il of akramani. So what do we have to do now here? Bring a zamir. So daraba, who's a fa'il in daraba? Huwa. Wa darabani, who's a fa'il in daraba? The alif. Darabuni, the fa'il is a wow. So you make it amal of the second verb, and you bring a zamir in the first verb. Following? Yes? Not that complicated, you guess? And then, وَفِي الْمُتَخَالِفَيْنِ. Similarly, if we do i'mal of the first, we make the first verb, the second verb the amil, we see now, and the first verb also needs a maf'ul. The first verb needs a fa'il. So for example, we've got 3 scenarios. This is a maf'ul of this. This is a maf'ul of this. This is a maf'ul of this. Mufrad, Muthanna, Jama'. Examples. So Zayd is a maf'ul of, we're doing i'mal of this one. This is the amil. Correct? So then what do you do now here? You put the zamir here. What's the zamir in daraba? Huwa. Daraba, zamir is the alif. And darabu, the zamir is the wow. So if you do i'mal of the first, of the second, then you have to give a zamir, and the first needs a fa'il. What do you have to do? You have to do izmar of the, because you can't remove the fa'il, can you, of a sentence? So you have to do izmar, even if it's izmar qabla zikr, it doesn't matter. You have to do that zamir. Make sense? Right? وَإِن كَانَ الْفِعْلُ الْأَوَّلِ يَقْتَضِي الْمَفْعُولَ. If the first verb needs a maf'ul, and I'll explain this later on why. And it's not a fi'lul qalb. It's got too complicated. It's not fi'lul qalb. I'll discuss that later on. Just ignore that for now. So if the first verb, we're doing i'mal of what? The second verb, yes? And if the first verb is a maf'ul, حذفت المفعول من الفعل الأول. You won't have any zamir. Because why? Izmar qabla dhikr is coming into play. And we only allow it in the fa'il case because there's no other option. It's zarura. But maf'ul, you can remove maf'ul, can't you? So we'll remove the maf'ul. So for example, كما تقول في المتوافقين. So what's happening here? We're doing i'mal of this. This is the maf'ul. These are all the maf'ul of this. Correct? Yes? And the Zayd is also the maf'ul of darabtu. But do you bring a zamir here? No. You remove the zamir from here. You don't say darabtuhu wa akramtu Zaydan. You don't say darabtuhuma wa akramtu Zaydain. You don't say darabtuhum wa akramtu Zaydin. Why? Because if you say darabtuhu, who is coming before the Zayd? Is ma qabla dhikr. And is it a need to bring that? No. So you say, remove, you remove the maf'ul. Okay? And if the mukhalif, this needs a fa'il, this needs a maf'ul, and that needs a fa'il. So this becomes, we're doing i'mal of this. This is the amil. This is the fa'il now of this verb. Even then, you do hazaf of the maf'ul. You don't put darabtuhu, darabtuhuma. You erase them. You following me? Yes? Are you sure? Okay, subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanakallahumma, wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. So basically, summary. So basic summary is what? Everything is permissible. Yes? Imalu awwal, imalu thani. Yes? In jawaz. Except Farra. Farra says that you don't do isma qabla dhikr. But isma qabla dhikr comes into place, you don't allow it. But everybody else says no, it's permissible. Regarding which is better, the Ahlul Basra say which is better? The second. And Ahlul Kufa say the first. Right? Now what happens now? When you give amal to one, the other needs something, isn't it? If it needs a fa'il, you give it a fa'il. Because you can't have a sense of a fa'il. If it needs a maf'ul, you just hazaf the maf'ul. Because maf'ul is not necessary. Yes? Does that make sense? Yes? So we say here, look. So you have i'mal of the awwal, al-awwal, and al-thani. Wherever you do i'mal of, so if you do i'mal of this, if this becomes the amil, then this will have what? Zamirul fa'il. Yes? And if it's zamir maf'ul, what will you do of zamir maf'ul? You erase it. Because you know what is ma qabla dhikr.
And in the of that's not necessary to erase.
You just take it off. And because fa'il, you have to have a fa'il zamir, you bring the zamir fa'il. Yes? I said it before, it's not difficult, but there are a lot of primary things you haven't done before, so like at this level. So it's in the book. Fa'il al-qabul hasn't come in this book as yet. So fa'il al-qalb has not come as yet. So I got to explain that, to explain the whole thing. So if you've understood it, alhamdulillah. If not, this discussion is not suitable at this level. So don't worry about it. It's nothing to panic about. Okay, subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanakallahumma, wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.